Every dollhouse needs the perfect backyard, and even better, the perfect little vegetable garden. Oh, are those my cabbages coming in? Hello, my crafty dolls. Welcome to my craft room. I am Grandma Kitty. I am so glad you're here. Well, I'm still suffering a little bit from spring fever. I really want to be out in my own garden, but I can't. So I'm forced to play with my miniature garden in my dollhouse, which is fine because I just designed some new printables over on my Etsy shop for the garden. I have a vintage garden, which has antique signs and rusty old buckets that you can use for pots. And then I have some birdhouses, and I even have a farmer's market. So if you need anything for your garden, you can hop on over to Etsy, do a little shopping, and then come back to this channel. I have some great tutorials on how to assemble everything, give you great tips and tricks. And of course, the best part, I give you some design tips to make all those projects pop. And that's what's great about this channel. I give you lots of ideas about miniatures. I share my love for miniatures, and I share my designs with you. So if you enjoy miniatures as much as I do, please hit that subscribe button. I would love to have you back. Okay, so I really want to show you how I made my backyard for the dollhouse and how I made my vegetable garden. And this vegetable garden is sort of a early summer vegetable garden with tiny little sprouts. And what's nice about this garden is that you can take it out like a piece of furniture. So if you need the room, if you like to constantly rearrange your house like I do, change for the seasons, this is an easy way to do it. So you can almost make multiple gardens, like a fall garden, even a winter. You can maybe put out some Christmas trees. So first off, you're going to need some fake grass. And I love this instant green. It is a moss that is on a big roll, and it's really nice. It's easy to cut, and it looks like grass. So we're going to use that for our backyard and the base for our garden. You're also going to need some pieces of wood. The craft store has these pieces of wood. They come in different sizes, so depending on how big you want your garden. And again, this we're going to glue everything onto this so you can take it in and out of your garden. You don't have to glue anything down to your permanent structure. We don't want to do that. And of course, a garden needs dirt. So you just need some real dirt. I have here, it's about a quarter cup. Probably don't even need that much. And we are going to use some really cheap glue. So go ahead and get some school glue. You don't really want to use your tacky glue for this because that's too expensive. So cheap glue will be just fine. You might want to have some rocks. And these are good for the stepping stones, or you can make a border around your garden. So go in your backyard and get some rocks, but if you don't have any, you can get these from the floral department. I also have some old broken pots and old plates that I saved. Guys, I save everything. So these are going to be stepping stones as well. But if you don't have these, you can use your rocks. That's just fine. And of course, a vegetable garden, we need vegetables. So I just went and got some basic little plants from the floral department, and these are all from Walmart, and I'm going to show you later exactly how we're going to make these look like little sprouts. All right, and also my favorite product is this Scotch mounting putty, and this is what we're going to use to put our grass down onto the backyard. So it's not permanent, but it'll stay securely, and you can always easily remove it later. This stuff is great. It is my favorite product. Okay, let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make that vegetable garden. Okay, so my garden is more of a summer garden, early summer garden, so I'm just putting in a little bit of sprouts. So I'm looking at the floral section for things that look like sprouts. So here are some succulents, and I just snipped off the tops, just a little top, so I can get a cute little sprout, just something that's starting to grow. And you can here's one that I did even smaller. I did one that's even smaller. So depending on how you want it. And I did that with all of these. You look at them in the store and you think, if I cut the tip off, that could be a cute little sprout. I'm looking for things that are little tiny and round. I also found these. I thought, I could cut those up. And I could cut these up and make a little sprout out of this. So I can have a whole bunch of these also. So you're going to have to use your imagination. Here I have something a little taller, and I am just going to cut that here. That could be a start of maybe some corn. Use your imagination. Now, of course, if you want to do something more realistic, hop on over to Etsy. There are amazing creators over there that do things with polymer clay. My daughter bought these for me. I have little cabbages and cauliflower and carrots. This stuff is amazing, all polymer clay. So if you want something more realistic, pop on over there. If you want more of a late summer garden look, you can go ahead and buy these amazing pieces from those creators over there. And I'm sure they even have things that you can actually have in your garden. I mean, if you bought this carrot, you could cut it and then put the little tops in the garden. So many options, but I am just doing a do-it-yourself garden. Early summer, so everything is just sprouting, so who knows what it could be. Everything looks the same when everything's starting to sprout. So I'm just going to go ahead and get all of my little sprouts ready to go. Okay, first we are going to create our garden. So we are going to use our piece of wood, and you can use any size you want. And we're going to use our instant green and glue that onto the wood. And you can see it on the back. It's got this really nice plastic mesh, even has a little grid pattern so you can cut a straight line. And I cut this a little bit bigger than my wood. So when you glue it on, you're not going to see the wood on there. And I'm just going to use my hot glue gun for this. Put it in the center there. So again, I'm putting this on a piece of wood so I can take the garden out of my backyard because I never want anything the same. I always want to change. So I might want to remove my garden and maybe have a backyard party at my house. Who knows? So, or you might want to take it out and put in a fall garden, like I said. So, okay. There we go. So that's a really good base for the garden. Okay, once the grass is glued to your piece of board for the garden, we are going to put rocks all around the edge, and you're going to go about 1/4 of an inch away from the edge and go all the way around. In the front of the garden here, I'm going to put a little stepping stone path so you can walk in the garden. So I'm going to leave a gap in the front. And this is sort of the pattern that I'm going to use for the garden. We're going to put 2 rows in the back, and then 2 on each side along the stepping stones. So that's kind of our pattern. And then the stepping stones are going to go right in the middle. So I'm just going to glue all those in, and then we can work on the dirt. So again, I'm just going to glue these on. All right, here is the frame of my garden. I put the rocks around the edge, about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and then I put in my little stepping stones. And these are just broken plates and old pots that I had. I threw in some rocks, and you can just use the rocks if you want to, or you don't have to put a stepping stone path in there. Whatever you want to do. So now we are going to put in the dirt. Okay, so now we are going to make the little mounds of dirt for the sprouts to be coming up from. So we're actually going to take real dirt, use a disposable cup, and we're going to mix in some school glue. Again, you want to use cheap glue with this. You don't want to use your good tacky glue. And take a popsicle stick and just mix that together. So basically what we want to do is we want to form little mounds. So you don't need a whole lot of glue. But we do not want that dirt to be flying all over the place. We want it to stay in one spot. All right, so you want your mud to be pretty wet. We're going to put it right onto our disposable plate here and get your fingers in there and just make a little mound. Stretch it, pull it, tap it down. Here we go. And then here is my garden, and I am just going to stick that right in our little spot here. Adjust it. And that is going to glue right onto our grass. And no need to do any extra gluing. And I did 6 of these. So I did two long ones and then 4 little ones on the side of the stepping path. And we don't need to wait for this to dry. We are going to go right on to putting our sprouts in here while it's drying. We can just use the hot glue, and then the glue from the dirt is going to help keep everything secure. And of course, we have to go wash our hands, little muddy. So I got my garden all ready. You don't need to wait for the dirt to dry. We can just go right into putting our sprouts in. And I got my sprouts all ready. I'm going to do some tall ones in the back here. This is the front of the garden. I'm going to do some tall ones here and here. And then I'm going to stick to shorter ones in the middle here. So all I'm going to do is start putting our sprouts in. And I'm going to stick to the same sprout in each row. So it looks a little bit conformed. So on the back here, on the back of the garden, I'm going to put my tall stuff. And then right here, I'm going to put some more tall flowers. And then in the middle here, we're going to do some shorter things. I found these are really cute. They almost look like little cabbages. So definitely going to use those. So just go ahead and push your sprouts right into that wet, gluey dirt. Okay, we are in the backyard of my dollhouse, and I just want to show you how I put down that instant green moss. So here is the main structure of my dollhouse. It's on a big board and it swivels. And I do not want to glue this right to my board. I don't want to ruin it in case the grass gets ruined or I want to change my mind. So what I'm going to use is my favorite product by Scotch brand, this removable mounting putty, museum putty. You can find it over by the framing section of Hobby Lobby. It is the greatest stuff. It doesn't dry out. It won't ruin anything. In fact, I can put it down on here and remove it and move it to somewhere else. And you can keep reusing this putty almost 10 times over. And it's not going to ruin even the grass. So I'm going to put that down here. I also use the mounting putty to put up my garden signs. And you can take these on and off as many times as you want. Remove them, and it's not going to ruin the paint of your dollhouse. It's amazing stuff. So I'm just going to put a little bit of putty in the corners. You don't need a lot. You just need it to stay in place so it's not flying all over the place. And just press it down. And there you go, instant grass. And here is my garden. It turned out really, really well. And what's nice about this is that it's one piece. So I can go ahead and drop this right into the backyard. And if I want to take it away, I just take it away. And it's not permanently in the backyard. So again, if you want to do different gardens, this is an early summer garden. You can do a late summer garden, a fall garden, and you can even take all this out and do something for winter. So you have options. So I like options. Okay, now for the fun part, we got to decorate. I have a cute little fence here to keep the bunnies out of the garden, of course. I have a cute little birdhouse that is in my Etsy shop if you're interested in that. I also have a directional garden sign and some old antique signs, even some old buckets that you can decorate your garden with. So if that interests you, you can hop over to Etsy. And if you have any gaps that you want to fill in, just go ahead and get some loose moss and just throw that in there. Don't even have to glue it. And here you have an instant garden for your dollhouse. Maybe add a little flower. And don't forget to water it. And here we are in the backyard. Go down the little stepping stones right into the garden and check everything out. Do some weeding. It looks really nice, looks real. The perfect dollhouse backyard. All right, my crafty dolls, that is it for me today. I hope you had fun, and I hope I inspired you to create a backyard and little vegetable garden for your dollhouse. Don't forget about the outside because it's an extra room you can decorate and do fun things with. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you don't know what to say, just leave me a yellow heart. And remember, everything you've seen in the show today, like my little signs and my little birdhouses, you can go over to my Etsy shop and download the printable. So happy crafting, everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye.